You saw the thumbnail, prove God's existence. And your first thought was probably, you can't. Or maybe finally someone's going to say what I've been thinking. Either way, you clicked and that already tells me something about you. Because if the idea of a creator was truly pointless, you wouldn't even be here right now. You could be scrolling, laughing, distracting yourself, but you're here, listening. So let's talk honestly. So I'm not here to force you to believe, I'm here to show you why it is at least logical for a creator to exist. First of all, I'm not denying science. In fact, science is very powerful. It gives us models, equations, predictions, and technology. But science is a tool that works on things inside the universe, on things that we can measure. It explains how things behave, not why there is something rather than nothing. So when someone says we can't test God because the idea is meaningless, that's not giving way to God's weakness. That is exposing science's scope. A microscope is amazing, but it's useless for listening to music. In the same way that science is great for studying nature, but it wasn't built for studying what might be beyond nature. And pretending a tool that can answer every question just because it's useful, that isn't logic. That is faith in the tool. Stay with me because this is where the logic starts to kick in. Everything we've ever observed in the universe has a structure, a cause, and a pattern. Stars, atoms, gravity, and DNA. None of this is all just random noise. Because the universe itself isn't just stuff. It's stuff following precise laws. Speed of light, the strength of gravity, the matter of dark matter and dark energy. All these constants sit in tiny ranges that allow life to happen. Even if they were a little stronger, a little weaker, a little faster, or a little slower, we wouldn't be here arguing about any of this. Even many non-religious physicists admit it looks suspiciously precise. Now, you can say, we just got lucky. Or maybe there are infinite universes and we're in the one that just worked. Those are not more logical, they're just different kinds of faith. Saying it just isn't an argument. So here's the first big question I want to sit you with. Why does reality have any order at all? Why does math, for example, describe the universe so perfectly when it's a made-up concept in our heads? In fact, why does anything follow rules? Why is it just not absolute chaos? It is at least logical to suggest laws imply a lawgiver, code implies a coder, design implies a mind. And no, that doesn't prove God the same way a lab experiment proves a chemical reaction. But it does make the idea of a creator a reasonable explanation, not a childish one. Look, my friend, if your first instinct is to scoff, pause and ask yourself, is that just logic or is that defense? Okay, now you might say, if everything needs a creator, then who created God? Good question, but notice, I never said everything needs a creator. I'm saying that everything inside the universe appears caused and limited. The chain can't go back forever with no foundation. Something has to be uncaused or you'll never get the first domino to fall. Science itself works on this idea. It looks for fundamental laws, not half-limiting explanations. So the logic is simple. Either the universe is the uncaused thing or there is something beyond that. And when something is described as eternal or already existing, this is where we get into the territory of there being a logical creator. But wait, you might say, you said God is outside of time. How can a timeless being create anything? Isn't that a contradiction? Only if you imagine God like a human engineer in his workshop and then suddenly decides to start working at, let's say, 3:15 p.m. Think of it differently. An author holds an entire story in their mind at once, the beginning, the middle, and the end. The characters feel time passing, chapter 1, chapter 2, chapter 3. But the author isn't stuck inside those pages. In the same way, a creator can cause the entire timeline of the universe to exist as a single act. From the inside, we experience before and after. From the outside, he is the reason why we exist at all. That's not a contradiction, that's just our limited brain struggling with something bigger than clock time. So now let me give you another picture. Imagine we create a super advanced game with AI that can think, feel, communicate, all of that stuff. Inside that game, they discover gravity, light, and all those rules. They can map their universe, measure it, predict it, but can they from the inside run an experiment on you? The developer who lives outside of their entire system? No. They can reason that a developer exists. They can see patterns, laws, and design, but they can't put you in a test tube, not because you're not real, but because you're on a different level entirely. So imagine AI saying, well, if we can't distinguish the developer, then how is it even possible to be formed in imagination? That doesn't sound deep anymore, does it? And that is exactly the same mistake when we demand God to show up as a lab specimen. And at this point you might be thinking, okay, fine, maybe it is logical that a creator exists, but what about religion? What about contradictions? What about being born in different cultures? And you're right, those are absolutely serious questions. But notice something, arguments about religion don't actually touch on the focus of, is there a creator at all? They only touch the description of to which a creator is accurate or not. And that's an important decision, but it is a second discussion. If you're rejecting the very idea of a creator just because humans disagree about him, that's like rejecting the idea of the universe because physicists disagree about which model is best. So human confusion doesn't cancel objective reality. Another common objection is that if God wanted us to believe, wouldn't he have given us all of this undeniable proof by now? So why is it all hidden? But think about what undeniable proof would do. If God appeared in the sky every single day, signed his name in the clouds, and answered every prayer like a vending machine, would you love him or would you fear him? Would you seek him or would you just use him? A test with no room to doubt is not a test of love or trust, it's coercion. But maybe the hints are strong enough for a sincere heart, but soft enough that a proud heart can still walk away. So that may not be emotionally satisfying, but it's logically consistent with the idea of free will. Now, let's flip the focus for a second. Instead of just asking, does a creator exist? Ask yourself, why do I even care? Why does your mind reach beyond things like survival and pleasure? Why does it go beyond this and go into questions of morality, purpose, questioning about oneself? Why does something inside of you feel bothered by injustice, searching for the truth, searching for even love? If we were just atoms or accidents, none of that would need to exist. But if we are souls made by a creator, all of that starts to make sense. So the question of God won't leave you alone because you weren't meant to live alone by him. So no, I can't prove the way God exists by boiling water at 100 degrees, but I can show you this: the order of the universe, the existence of laws, the very concept of logic and morality. So all of it fits together more coherently if it starts from the mind rather than mindless matter. That is why it's at least logical for a creator to exist. You still may have questions, anger, or doubt, but that's okay. But don't lie to yourself and pretend that the idea of a creator is childish or irrational. You are smarter than that. Your soul is deeper than that. If you're still here, still listening, that already says a lot about you. What you do next is between you and that other person who's on the other side. Because if a creator is really there, he's already been seeking you long before you ever clicked this video.